It's happening. President Donald J. Trump just shattered the silence from the White House lawn, and what he said has Washington scrambling. After months of tension, public outrage, and behind-the-scenes pressure, Trump just gave Attorney General Pam Bondi a direct order. Release whatever you think is credible. No more protecting reputations, no more two-page memos, no more excuses. And if you think that this ends with Bondi's, oh no, you will be wrong, guys, because what President Trump just did wasn't just a call for transparency. This is clearly a calculated move to expose the Epstein system from the inside out. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to expose how two Manhattan judges may be blocking the full release, claiming that they're shielding victims, but they're possibly protecting the elite instead. So I want you to ask yourself this. Are we watching the truth finally come to light? Or is this nothing more than a last-minute cover-up disguised as compassion? Guys, we've got Dershowitz dropping legal bombshells. House Speaker Mike Johnson publicly pressing Pam Bondi and MAGA supporters turning on their own leadership over this scandal. And wait until you hear what Ghislaine Maxwell is doing behind the scenes right now to try and stop the next wave of revelations. Guys, roll with me on this video because you're going to see exactly why President Trump said release it all and why this Epstein bomb is far from finished exploding. Guys, things are going everywhere. I'm just saying. By the way, if you appreciate the daily news updates, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, Trump's in charge, guys. Biden is gone, but the excuses that haunted the last administration have clearly not run out yet, okay? So under President Trump's new or renewed leadership, one of America's darkest scandals, the Epstein cover-up, is back under the spotlight. Because this time, guys, Trump's not playing defense. He's not protecting institutions. He is not guarding anybody's reputation. He is not shielding the politically connected from embarrassment. No. He's drawn the line. Guys, in a very stunning statement on the White House lawn, President Trump, he just said that Attorney General Pam Bondi should release whatever she thinks is credible. Not next month, not after committee review, now. Now, it was a very clear message to Bondi and the entire DOJ. Release it all. This is not just about transparency. This is about trust. And President Trump knows that the only way to restore that trust is by showing the American people exactly what's been hidden from them. But, of course, there's always a twist, right? So Pam Bondi may not be the one that's holding all of the keys because two judges in Manhattan may be suppressing the files that could change everything. Now, of course, give me a second, because I do want to tell you exactly what Alan Dershowitz revealed about those sealed affidavits, the redactions, and how some of the accused might have once held public office. Oh, yeah, you do not want to miss that. Now, before I get to that bombshell, we need to talk about what's already exploding inside the movement itself, okay? Pam Bondi, she's got a 2-page memo officially closed the Epstein investigation earlier this month. There were no names, there were no charges, just silence and a signature. The reaction? Well, let's just say that the MAGA base was furious, to say the least. Supporters who stood with Trump through Russiagate, 2 impeachments, January 6th, and the stolen election investigations turned on Bondi overnight. And let me know if you were one of them. The pressure has been unrelenting. Social media backlash, calls for her resignation, grassroots outrage. So what did Bondi say? Oh, and by the way, should Bondi resign or be fired? Y'all let me know. So what did Bondi say to this? Well, she said, and I'm a quoter, "I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me to be here." Okay, sure, okay. But that was before Trump said she should release whatever she thinks is credible. So now the spotlight is blinding, okay? And Bondi is no longer shielded by silence. And so here's where the tension hits a boiling point. Was she closing the case to protect innocent victims or to protect powerful allies from embarrassment or even worse? Now, some of you guys said, I think that Pam Bondi was threatened. I want to know what you think. But let me ask you something. Do you really believe Bondi is caught in legal red tape, or is this more like maybe some political fear? Because Trump has evolved on this issue. Now, there's something powerful about being able to say, look, I'm taken care of. Catherine Garcia, she called Chapter, and not only did she get a Medicare plan with no cost to her, she said, they are so caring, compassionate, and helpful. I actually spoke to a real person, and I absolutely owe nothing, right? Like, I love that. She said, I owe absolutely nothing, all paid for. Guys, this is the kind of outcome that gives people hope. And it's why I proudly partner with Chapter, because they show up for people when nobody else does. Give our friends at Chapter a call today for yourself, for your parents, and see how much money you could save with on your Medicare. Phone number's down below, 909-563-8279, or hit them up on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. Do not wait for another confusing bill or denial letter. Just give them a call. All right. So I want to rewind the clock just for a moment, because President Trump's stance on the Epstein files wasn't always so forceful. Back in 2024, he was measured, strategic, even reluctant. And let's be honest, he had a point. Trump warned that releasing Epstein's documents too quickly or without review could destroy innocent lives. But, and I get it, right? Not because that they were guilty, but because guilt by association is a very powerful weapon in the media's hands. Yes, right? I mean, he said you could ruin someone's life just for having lunch with Epstein. That's what Trump said at the time. And he was right. This is not about vengeance. It's about truth, though. And this is what really sets President Trump apart. He doesn't want to scorch the earth. He wants accountability with integrity. But now his tone has changed, and the change is deliberate. Standing on the White House lawn, Trump made it very clear. He's done waiting, done watching others bury the truth, done playing Mr. Nice Guy with people who think that the American public cannot handle what's in the files. You can't handle the truth. Yeah. And like he said it plainly. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Now, let's be clear, guys. President Trump is not here to burn innocent people. Of course not. All right. He's here to burn the cover up. This is a commander in chief who's watched the DOJ delay, watched the media ignore, and watched even members of his own base lose trust in the system. And so now he's flipping the table. And just when you think it couldn't get any more explosive, it does. Enter Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's former lawyer. So whether you trust him or not, what he said recently could change the game. Now, according to Dershowitz, there is no official client list made by Epstein, but there is a redacted FBI affidavit, and inside that affidavit are the names of people accused of sexual misconduct linked to Epstein's operation. Now, here's the kicker. That document is sealed, redacted, blocked from public view. And who's blocking it? Well, it's not Trump. It's actually not Pam Bondi. It's not the DOJ. It's two federal judges in Manhattan. So they're saying that they're doing it to protect the alleged victims. But Dershowitz says that he's seen the unredacted material, and he says he knows exactly who Mr. X, Mr. Y, and Mr. Z are. And while some are dead or no longer in office, others were once public officials. Holy cow. Yeah. So now we got to ask the question, are these judges truly protecting survivors, or are they protecting the elite, or are they protecting themselves? So is this judiciary integrity, or is this institutional censorship to shield names that would shatter under public trust? Well, here's the dark truth, guys. You, the American people, paid for the investigations. You paid for the courtrooms, and you paid the price when Epstein's network preyed on the powerless while cozying up to the powerful. So why are two unelected judges deciding what you're allowed to see? And so you want to hear about the most disturbing part? Dershowitz says the information could be unsealed right now if the court would just allow it. Now, insiders don't wait for the news. They get to it. They get it directly. So if you want to be an insider, join my breaking news list. Link in the description down below. Be that insider, guys. I pinned the comment for you. Join our breaking news list down below. So let's talk about Pam Bondi, because after President Trump's public shift, the pressure isn't just rising, it's boiling. Trump didn't just say, release the files. He said, release what you think is credible. This is a phrase that looks like discretion on the surface, but underneath, it's a challenge. It's a signal. It's a test of loyalty. And at the same time, it's a direct command. Pam Bondi now faces a choice: stand with the truth or stand in its way. I mean, she's no longer protected by silence, not after House Speaker Mike Johnson, a top Republican, a Trump ally, broke ranks and called her out directly. She needs to come forward and explain that to everybody, he said. Mike Johnson, he usually is fairly soft-spoken. He's now pushing her publicly to resolve this real fast so that the DOJ can get back to dealing with violent crime, Act Blue investigations, and, election integrity, the exact priorities of the Trump administration. But here's the contrast. Trump has been clear. Mike Johnson has been public, but Pam Bondi, she's still vague. She's still very cautious. She's still hiding behind the phrase. The memo speaks for itself. So let's be honest, guys. Is Bondi waiting for legal clearance, or is she stalling, hoping the political storm dies down? Now, ask yourself, guys, is she boxed in by the courts or by fear of who might be exposed? And while Bondi plays the quiet game, someone else is moving behind the scenes from inside her prison cell, okay? Trying to break the system from the other direction. That's right, guys. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate, co-conspirator, convicted trafficker, has just filed a stunning appeal to the United States Supreme Court. After being convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison, Ghislaine Maxwell isn't just asking for a lighter sentence. She's trying to undo everything: her trial, her verdict, and potentially her silence. So this appeal, if accepted, could shake the Epstein case to its foundation, because an appeal means documents get reviewed, testimony re-examined, and doors that were sealed, they get cracked back open. So here's where it gets critical. The DOJ under President Trump is fighting back. They're urging the Supreme Court to reject her request and keep her locked up exactly where she belongs. But the question hangs in the air right now. What happens if the court sides with Maxwell? What happens if they grant her appeal? Could she expose new names to protect herself? Could the system choose to rebury the evidence under fresh judicial orders? Or could the entire case be flipped, stalled, or even wiped clean? So this brings us back to one terrifying reality. The Epstein files are sitting in folders, sealed and redacted. Pam Bondi, she's sitting on a memo, and Ghislaine Maxwell is trying to fade truth for freedom. Meanwhile, the American people, we're just still sitting here in the dark. I was trying to make the whole room dark, but anyway. So after all of this, Trump says release it. The MAGA base demands answers. Pam Bondi, she gives a non-answer. Ghislaine Maxwell wants a second chance. But the real question is this: who's actually blocking the truth? Because despite Trump's direct order, despite Dershowitz admissions, despite the public outrage and political momentum, nothing has been released. And that brings us right back to the two federal judges in Manhattan. According to Dershowitz, they're the ones that are suppressing the Epstein documents, the names, the affidavits, the files that could bring the entire power structure into the light. They claim they're protecting victims. But you got Alan Dershowitz admitting that he's already seen the names and he already knows who's in there. Now, some of them, he says, were once in public office. So now the people are left to decide. Is this truly about protecting the vulnerable, or is it really about protecting the powerful? Now, let's be real, guys. If these judges really cared about transparency, if they really believed in accountability, if they respected the public's right to know, then why are they the only ones allowed to see what's inside? Why is it their judgment alone that determines who's protected and who's protected from justice, right? This isn't just legal strategy. This is the wall. This is the last wall between truth and exposure here. And President Trump, he's now standing on the side of disclosure. He knows the American people can handle the truth, and he trusts them with it. The question is, why doesn't the rest of the system, right? Trump's Trump forced Bondi's hand, but will the judges force the door shut? So here's where we are, guys. The president of the United States has spoken. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has applied pressure. The base is demanding answers. The woman at the center, Pam Bondi, has been told to act. The files are sitting in silence. The judges are holding the lock. Maxwell, she's scratching at the walls of her cell, hoping to get a chance to escape it all. And the American people, we're out here waiting. We're waiting for someone to stop protecting reputations and start delivering the truth. Because at the end of the day, this is not about Jeffrey Epstein. He's dead. This ain't even about Ghislaine Maxwell. She's already convicted. This is about whether the most powerful people in the world, those with money, access, influence, can use our courts and institutions to bury their sins. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it plainly. The American people don't want redactions. The American people want revelations. Can I get an amen? If the files are real, if the allegations are credible, if the names are known, then they deserve to be seen. All of them. Not for revenge, not for politics, but for justice. And if President Trump has the courage to say release it all, then we must have the courage to demand it, right? Drop me a comment, guys. Do you trust the courts to do the right thing, or do you believe that this is a cover-up in plain sight? Oh, and don't forget, the next video YouTube recommends right now, this is one that you're going to want to see for sure, okay? It connects directly to the story and what happens if those documents ever go public. Click that video now. You're going to want to see what comes next. I'll see you next time.